All right, welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we are. Game number 2 now of this 2-game series. Team Onyx versus Doo-Wop here in this second and final game, of course. So, looking forward to see what happens here. I'm Breaky CPK, joined by CCNC. Once again, it's my co-caster. Obviously, a little bit of a delay right there. We had some server issues and then waiting on a couple people. But we are good now. That's what matters. So, what we also are good with is a Coddle first pick yet again. Obviously, again, as we mentioned, it remains undefeated. They're 4-0 now with this hero. Demon plays it very well. They're comfortable playing around it. They first pick it again. So CCNC, how do you counter a Coddle? I mean, is there something you can do specifically? What's the deal?
I don't think the hero is like overwhelmingly strong now. I think it's just sort of the style that Onyx likes to play. They like to play this split them out. Oh, are they gonna go? Are we going round two? Round two? Take the Life Stealer?
Come on. You know you
Life Stealer Slaughter is a really good combo, but it's pretty bad versus the Coddle in like all facets because Coddle shoves the waves out really fast. So you never have your lanes out and stuff. So it's very hard to find heroes to get pickoffs on. The Coddle gets ags eventually, so you can see when they're jumping from. Mana Leak is super good versus Life Stealer. The Blinding Light is quite good versus Life Stealer as well. Like overall, this Coddle hero is just really good versus Slaughter Life Stealer. So I'm curious if they trust in the Slaughter Life Stealer and they're gonna take it again versus the Coddle, or if they're if they think they're gonna take the Darkster or something, which is another hero that it's one of Snake King's best heroes, if not his best hero. It's a very good combo with the Slaughter. It's a hero that Coddle is not great at zoning out of lane. You can Mana Leak him, which is a little annoying. Okay, yeah, so they do take the Darkster. They're not gonna go for that Slaughter Life Stealer again, as it didn't really work so well the first time. And it's kind of a power play. Like, okay, we think we just misplayed the game, but I think the game was a little tricky for them at draft last game. Not to say it was impossible. I think it was maybe slightly Onyx-sided, not that much.
Well, yeah, and if anything, too, it kind of put them on a timeline, I think was the biggest thing. As we saw in that game that we were talking about, that if they didn't win, by that 35-minute mark, really, in that game, if they weren't sieging the base and, looking good, then it was going to be a downhill battle pretty much, or an uphill battle, however you want to look at it. Point is, obviously, it started to fall apart, and Team Onyx eventually broke through, and again, the Weaver farm and everything else. Yeah, they go Earth Spirit again. It's it's a classic case of it ain't broke, don't fix it, but we'll see how Doo-Wop responds to it this time around now.
Yeah, we'll see. They probably talked about the games during our lobby fiasco. So we'll see if they figured out what they want to do versus this, if they want to, do some sort of aggro tri-lane with the Darkster in the safe lane, if they want to just play their game, play it a little bit cleaner, have some heroes that maybe go better late game. One of the first steps they're going to take is they're going to ban the Mason Weaver. I don't think that's a bad play at all. It's probably his best hero. He's very, very good at the Weaver. And it's also just, in general, just a good hero. I think it suits Onyx's play style as well. Lets them fight, play with this sort of pick-off style from time to time, and also is a good split pusher and a hero that goes late game.
Yeah, also, on top of all that, again, they're realizing right now that Earth Spirit and Coddle, the same two heroes to start last game as well, and overall worked pretty well for Onyx. So let's kind of force them to change it up as far as what heroes they go with the first two picks. So yeah, the ban on a Weaver definitely makes sense. The ban on a Slark on the other side, taken away by Team Onyx.
10 seconds remaining.
Now the fourth bans for both teams to come, and then, of course, the third and fourth picks to come. So the draft developing pretty well right here. Again, this is our second series, guys. We do have one more series to go. Team NP versus this same Team Onyx right here, who would love to have a 2-0 going into that series, but Doo-Wop looking to put up a fight here. Game 2, so yeah. Already got the Darks here.
See. Taking a little bit of time for their bans. I'm curious to see what they do move. I think they might take out the Invoker. It's a hero that Onyx plays a lot. I think Flea has played almost exclusively SF and Invoker. I don't remember him playing anything else, to be honest. He almost always gets one of those heroes, so I would think they would ban one of them out. They may go for the Invoker again. It's just kind of an annoying hero to play versus, and it's also a very much comfort hero for Flea. They could also just, I don't know what they have in mind or what they feel like Onyx is going to go for, because they do have there's two supports shown, but they can sort of go a lot of different directions with their draft, even with just these two heroes. So they ban out the Luna, so another Mason hero, a hero that can be very, very good versus the Slaughter because you have so much armor. It kind of surprises me they actually banned the Luna whenever they have the Darkseer hero that traditionally Darkseer is very good versus. You can run him early on. The wall is extremely good versus him, and it gives you a lot of team fight versus the Luna, which is what you want. You want to be able to fight them early and often before the Luna gets too many items to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And also something odd this series, the Shadow Demon has been completely ignored.
That's true, yeah.
Shadow Demon completely ignored. Both of them could have gone for the Shadow Demon Luna, and then do up going for the Lifestealer. So they believe in their Slaughter Lifestealer. They have the Darkseer this time instead of the Bat Rider, so a little bit different. They have a little more lane push, and probably the Darkseer working better with this strategy. Is that you don't always have all your lanes in, but Onyx saying, "All right, well, we'll go round 2. Pick Axe."
Yeah, they go Axe, so they get that again. Going back to Flea real quickly, I know we were talking about this in the matchup when they were facing Complexity, talking about how Complexity was banning out Meepo against them from the beginning. I guess Flea is also known for being a decent Meepo player as well, but we don't see any bans on Meepo here yet, so wondering if that could be an option here.
Yeah, that hero blew up like a lot. Like everybody was like, "Holy cow, Meeple's broken," and then everybody would just sort of stop picking the hero because I'm not really sure why. I think the hero is still pretty strong, but maybe not as strong as people initially thought. Sort of like when Mirana first started becoming very popular when the Ags first came out. Everybody was first picking that hero, and then the hero didn't have a great win rate. Everybody stopped picking it, and then a little bit later, everybody realized, "Hey, this hero's still good." And they kept, it sort of came back into popularity. So maybe is what happening.
Yeah.
Meepo here. I don't know. Duop 747 also plays the Meepo, but this is not a great Meepo game for Duop, and a pretty bad Meepo game for Onyx as well. Not the worst, but not amazing.
Yeah. Okay, they go Terrorblade
Radiant team
instead. So somewhat different of an idea compared to the Weaver last game, that's for sure. As far as he's more about the split push and more of definitely has a strong team fight presence with that metamorphosis, but. Like the Terrorblade pick?
Seconds remaining.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best carries in the game versus the Lifestealer. You typically are playing around this timing of like Dragonlance, Mansa, Scotty. Whenever you hit those items, with Treads Aqua, it's just the random small items. It becomes extremely hard for Lifestealer to do anything. It's also especially good versus the Lifestealer Slaughter combo in particular because he doesn't really care if he only has 15 armor instead of 45 armor. Because that hero just has obscene amounts of armor. Is pretty bad versus the Silencer and the Darkseer, so maybe that's why they picked those heroes up, thinking, okay, maybe they'll go for the Terrorblade. We're banning at the Weaver this time, banning at the Luna. So we're going to give our Lifestealer a good core matchup, and then picking heroes that respond to this Terrorblade. So, okay, they're probably going to go for this hero, so we'll make it a good pick versus our core, but maybe not versus the rest of our heroes. And overall, Terrorblade also just a Mason hero. It gives them some split push, gives them some tower taking. So, it sort of fills the same role as the Weaver did last game. Just a little bit different, as obviously the Weaver being banned out. And Duop, I guess, learning their lesson, banning out the Invoker last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, taking that away. So now the response from Onyx. We'll see who they decide to final ban. But, yeah, the mid options, definitely the candidates here. Possibly for either side. So, going to dip into that reserve time now of Onyx. About a minute left. Right here, again, Onyx, the ones that are up 1-0, trying to continue the first 3 picks, the same as last game. Of the Cuddle, the Earth Spirit, and the Axe, of course. And, yeah, we talked about that Invoker ban, so not going to be that, and then the Weaver ban prior. So happy to swap it up as far as their cores go in the very end here, at least. But they end up going with TA, just like last game. And, hey, there's a Mirana, actually, speaking of her.
Team pick.
All right, so we'll be a mid Mirana. Pretty good versus the Lifestealer. The Leap is very nice versus him. He has a hard time getting onto you and locking you down. The Moonlight Shadow is also very nice for kiting fights, so they have a lot of they have a very big vision advantage in these fights between the Coddle eventually getting an Ags and the Mirana kiting people around in the Moonlight Shadow. But Duop going to sort of do what we talked about last game. Whenever you have the Slaughter Lifestealer, you like to go for a more farming core. So this game, switching it up a little bit and going for the Storm. One of the better cores versus the Terrorblade. You can burst them down quite easily with a big zip from far away. Benefits quite a bit. From the Silencer as well. Whenever you pick the Silencer, you want to have this big initiation. You jump in, you pop the global, you kill one hero, and you take the fight from there. It also fits well with the Slaughter Lifestealer. So I think this Storm, a very well-suited last pick, does quite well versus the Mirana in the lane. Has a little bit of a damage advantage, has some more armor. So I think 747, also one of the best Storm players in NA. So I think the Storm pick quite good, and I like Duop's lineup a lot more than I did last game because they actually have some decent late game. This Terrorblade isn't just the end all be all like the Weaver was last game, and the Storm scales considerably better than the Alchemist does. So a little bit better, different of a timing for Duop, and same for Onyx. So very similar drafts, but a little bit of a different game.
Here we go again. Axe gonna go with the disconnect and restart right here, but as soon as he's back in, looks like we'll be good to go. Duop at least making it known that they are ready. They would like to go 5 versus 4, but probably best that we wait for the reconnect. There we go. So back in and going to be good to resume things on again. Second game. It is a 1-0 advantage in favor of Onyx right here in this best-of-2 series. So Duop simply trying to split the series. And going to do it once again with Lifestealer. At least that's the idea. But yeah, Storm Spirit final pick. Always an entertaining hero. Good for it, as you mentioned. Apparently 747 plays this hero pretty often and pretty well. So see how he does this time around. Onyx, they send one person top, and the rest are going bottom for the time being. Terrorblade, the only one up here. Not going to spot Slaughter sneaking in. And blocking the camp right here, so no use of the pole camp there.
Yep, a little bit unorthodox, actually TPing the Terrorblade up to top lane, so instead of getting a branch or a clarity, buys the TP. Gives the supports maybe a little more room to buy something they wanted to. Maybe the Earth Spirit wasn't able to get a TP or whatever, as he just only has 45 gold here, so maybe a little bit short. As you are, spots the smoke, rages, and will live here, so maybe just trading bounty runes as Duop will probably move to this top line, realizing, oh, they're probably all down here. Spare you walking up this hill to sniff things out, it appears.
Yeah, he's going to make his way up here and see Terrorblade, but not going to be able to do anything with that. Terrorblade does have that Observer Ward again on him, and obviously doesn't want to just give up this bounty rune freely, but probably has to as bottom lane. Okay. They are trying to contest for the bounty rune, and silence there. Almost gets caught. He actually does get caught by the arrow. It's going to be a full arrow, and actually the Illuminates nukes right through him. So first blood in favor of Onyx. And you see Lifestealer just has to walk it off, and it ends up being a 2-2 split with the bounty runes. But there you go. Flea landing the arrow. Getting the first blood set up.
Yeah, it was a very nice arrow. They get the kill on the silencer. Kind of got stuck between the two trees, and now they do split even on the bounty runes, so not the biggest deal in the world. But Demon does get the first blood, so he's going to get a quick boots. In this often looks like he's setting it behind the trees, so maybe going to blast this wave down a little bit as Bulba is starting in the jungle again with that Iron Talon.
Got our Spirit harassing on through, but going to make his way to the top lane. Snake King, speaking of being in the jungle, obviously he's doing his part here with that Ion Shell, and trying to farm up what he can. Going to be found by Earth Spirit eventually right here. We'll see how that maybe changes some things as far as what he's able to accomplish. But yeah, as you're talking about too, Bulba pretty much rinse and repeat here in game number 2. Doing his jungle thing as well, but as expected, you got Darkseer kind of being pushed out somewhat by the Earth Spirit, but before he actually gets to the last hits on the creeps and makes his way to the top lane now. So it's going to be the Darkseer and the Slaughter. We saw yesterday actually Complexity doing the Darkseer Slaughter combo. They actually were double jungling with it and doing pretty effective, early on in the game, and then eventually transitioning to the lanes. But instead, going to both be in the lane here and trying to contest with the Terrorblade, but ends up being a 3 versus 2. So we'll see if anything happens with Team Onyx here. And that Earth Spirit.
Yep, the Demon, the really nice play early on, gets a TP, and worms his way back into these trees back here. So blast these waves down, and Claire had to walk all the way back to the lane because he did go down early on, so wasn't there able to force him out of the trees early. And the Demon, right whenever he saw the Silencer walking into the trees to force him out, just TP's back up to top lane, and now going to give them this Tri-V dual lane scenario. So sort of the similar play to what Dooku did last game, but very well suited to this early game, and I'm going to try and give the Terrorblade the best start possible, like they did last game. Sort of the only difference this game with what Duop has is that the Darkseer is considerably better at jungling early on than the Bat Rider they had last game, so they'll be able to give the Slaughter more solo XP if things don't go so well up here, and the Darks will be able to go back to jungle and still farm at a pretty speedy rate. Darkseer also almost impossible to kill with this tri-lane, so should have a really nice time up here pressuring this Terrorblade quite a bit, because once he does get to like level 3, which he has now, working towards the level 5, having the Soul Ring, then this Terrorblade doesn't really have a great way to kill these Ion Shells. They have Demon who can, try and nuke them down, but he is out of clarity, so only has 1 nuke left and has to heal his mana back up with the Chakra very, very slowly.
Yeah, and you see actually runs right into the Darkseer right there, so I'm going to be a little bit careful and taking some almost unnecessary damage, it feels like. But now Slaughter charging in, has a sprint active, not going to be able to catch up to Demon, but will be able to catch up to Mason, Mason over here on the Terrorblade. However, not nearly enough follow-up damage for any kind of kill, but going to really push him out. You see Mason going over to the side chop, though. Going to pick up an item there, and I think it might have been the boots, and he'll head right back. So, good pressure being put up, and as we're talking about with the Darkseer, 13-0, so overall not doing too shabby. At that top lane, middle lane, 747 could be in some trouble. The arrow not going to be used, though, as the Arcane Curse comes out, and that will force them back. So they happen to see Silence there at the last second, figured it's not worth committing for. And Storm Spirit survives, but...
Yep, 747 having a very nice time in the lane right now, 21 and 1 compared to Flea's 13 and 2. So slightly favored Storm matchup early on because you have so much armor, you have a little bit better of right-click damage. And if you don't have a very nice first couple of waves as the bottom, can become very hard very quickly. Once you're back to level 5, the lane sort of equalizes. But you really want to try and pull aggro early on, kill the range creep as quick as possible, and just push the waves into the storm. But he can deal with it a lot better than most heroes because he can just nuke the waves down with his remnant. So has a much better response to the typical opener from bottoms as far as the early laning stage goes. 747 also not going down to any of these early ganks from the Earth Spirit. So it's almost up to that level 6, and then he's basically unkillable until acts as a blink dagger or a little bit out of position and maybe gets bursted by the stun and silence from Dubu, but not even level 3 yet, so no silence available.
Yeah, not too worried about that. Gets those boots and bottle delivered, though. He's looking for the bounty rune, I'm pretty sure, but I believe Axe had picked that up prior to him getting over there, so good job by Bulba. Making sure to take advantage of stealing it right there. Demon back to the bottom lane as Axe actually ports into the shrine area and comes back middle lane. 747 will fall, though, as they do combo this time again, and it is enough damage for the kill. So I unfortunately was watching the bottom lane, but just a good arrow or what?
Yeah, I wasn't watching either. I'm assuming he got rolled on and kicked into the arrow. Wasn't quite level 6 yet, and also didn't have his range drop on him. It does have it now, so with that range drop, and now he's level 6. After this range creep goes down, he should be perfectly fine from here on out. Stubu has to heal as well, so no possibility of utilizing this very, very small window before this range creep dies. They can still, kill him.
Yeah. That's a big kill, though, for Team Onyx. Now the 2-0 start again. The first blood to start the game before the horn even blew, and now they got the middle matchup, despite Storm Spirit looking slightly advantage here. Is going to die first, though, so Mirana, Flea taking advantage of that. And speaking of that, Mirana actually second in net worth.
Oh, no.
Again, having those, at least the 1 kill and the 1 assist on top of that. Big reason for that. What's going on over here? The stun, the boulder smash goes through into Slaughter. Cannot get close enough for a Berserker's Call, though. The arrow not going to hit. He takes the haste rune that happened to be there, and he'll run away with it. In fact, go for the turn kill on a Dubu. Dubu over 7 against boundaries. Does have a boulder smash. Excuse me, a barrel roll even. But not going to be able to get it off. And yes, Silencer overstepped his boundaries. He ends up getting Tana right there and falling as a result. So that was not the best position for him to be in.
Yeah, Silencer only level 2 at 6 minutes. No boots as well, just a raindrop and a set of tangos as well as a TP. So really a terrible start for the Silencer, and a hero that really needs a lot of levels, and even a decent amount of farm can use to be useful, and not a hero that can do very much with this little levels. And realizing, hey, I need to be selfish. I need to get some levels. He only has 400 net worth right now, so he's going to TP to this place and start doing this clowny little thing you can do where you just eat these trees, you pull the creeps down, you can just pull them into the tower over and over and over again and farm them like that. Coddle
being very aggressive again, taking advantage of that speed. He already has a chunk of boots again, running out of the 420 movement speed at this early on in the game. So difficult to chase him down, of course. Now, Viryu, excuse me, is going to go flank here and Slaughter, try to catch him, but right as he attempts to, Demon happens to be falling back, and there's that movement speed coming into play. The ulti activated from Murata just in case as well. I don't know if that was okay. They're actually going for the kill the top lane. That's why. BO roll will not connect, but puts him in a decent spot. He actually boulder smashes Snake King forward, and they do set up the kill. Flea secures it with the Star Storm. Well played by Duba right there. Not often do you see it used like that, but time it works. And here comes
a very nice
tower.
rotation. And off of that, they're going to take the top tower. Yeah, like you said. No real way for them to fight here unless they have this Darkseer able to run at them with the Iron Shell and like the Slaughter or something like that. So with the Darkseer dead, nothing they can really do. And they're going to take this tower early on, which is really what you want to do with this Terrorblade. Take these, this tier 1 tower early as you possibly can. Gives the Terrorblade more space to farm. Makes it harder to gank him. Not as big of an impact as it used to have, as now there is Shrine, so you have something to TP to. But still kind of annoying, and lets this Terrorblade push out the lane considerably farther.
Bottom lane. Oh, well played
nice.
right there. Yeah, using the infest. I mean, it's 100-second cooldown there, but without it, he probably TP's out. So, very smart decision to activate it and secure that kill. Obviously, the open wounds helping to set that up right there, and it will allow Lifestealer to get even more farm at the spot. I'm laying the armlet, just about finished now. Only needs the gloves of haste, actually, before that's going to be good to go. So he is sitting up there at the top net worth. Terrorblade right behind him, though. The Ring of Aquila has the power treads. Poor man shield really has a lot of build-up right here.
Denied.
Before going to be progressing. Does Terrorblade get a helm of the Dominator by chance, or is that not going to be a thing on him?
Typically no, especially versus this Lifestealer. You want to sort of get to that quick Dragonlance, Manta, and then eventually up into the Scotty. Is, sort of that 3-item timing that really just owns Lifestealer in this hero matchup. Dominator doesn't really do the most. You already have these illusions to, push out the lanes with, so you don't really need it. Or you don't get that use of just pushing out the lanes with it. Also, terribly not a hero that utilizes the purge creep typically, or super well. You can give it to a teammate and let them use it, but it just sort of makes this item build up a little bit weird. It's not an item that most Terrorblades nowadays build.
Yeah, well, again, keep an eye on and see what Mason decides to go for here. But yeah, the Dragonlance sounded like over the routine style. Middle lane matchup, looking back at this, Storm Spirit has enough gold for the energy booster to finish the Arcane Boots, but that's going to transform into a Bloodstone eventually, you'd figure. And middle lane, smoke coming out between Lifestealer and Slaughter. Now, Slaughter, no Blink Tagger, of course, just yet. It's still a ways off. But still going to work with each other, head towards the top lane. Snake King pretty low on mana, although he does have the Soul Ring. And the Arcane Boots coming up in about 10 seconds right here. Going to try to go for a gank on somebody. That somebody could be Earth Spirit. Unless they get seen first, doesn't look like it. And yeah, they're going to be going in, trying to catch up to him. Can he get the barrel roll off in time? Boulder smash away, the barrel roll forward. Puts down the Revenant for the extra distance. So, good escape by Dubu, but this should transition into at least some good tower pressure here at the top lane.
Yeah, and then Mason immediately TPing down to bottom, has the Metamorphosis. Axe TPing down as well. And all snaking down to bottom, so they don't want to give this tower up for free, but with the Slaughter and Lifestealer both with no TPs, I don't know how well they'll be able to defend this. They may end up giving up heroes down here if they don't get out of dodge very quickly, which it looks like they're going to do.
Oh, Berserkers call them both. The calling play. There we go. There's the one slam dunk, and you got to expect Silencer's next in line. He's going to go for the TP. Let him slam dunk. Let him slam dunk. Oh, he couldn't get enough life off first. And that positioning was a little awkward. So Silencer will survive, but they lose the tower as well as Darkseer. Still definitely a victory for Team Onyx, despite Silencer managing to escape right there. But yeah, the Terrorblade movement seems like it's actually been pretty powerful. The Dragonlance, I think, was even just purchased right there. As, yeah, the Ogre Club is coming out to him. So he's going to apply pressure to the secondary tower before now falling back. But yeah, definitely control for Onyx early on in this game.
Yep, taking both of those outer tier 1s. Yoar looks like he's going to go for a solo kill up on here on Demon. Has the armlet. 2 more shots to do it. Just 1 more. Boop, gets him. So a nice kill by Yoar. Demon pushed a little bit too far up in the lane. Not sitting back by this tower. So just trying to clean up all the lasts instead of sacking a few here and there so he can be a little safer. Gets a little too greedy. And Yoar brings him down. So sitting on top of the net worth with his Lifestealer for now. But over time, this Terrorblade will probably eclipse him as just a naturally much faster farmer than the Lifestealer.
Going to work his way to the jungle right here, being protected by Earth Spirit, but yeah, Lifestealer, again, with that kill especially, continue to be on top of the charts, though. for the time being. Bottom lane silencer. He is level 6. That's good. And obviously, you want that global silence on him as soon as possible. So having that now will be a good presence for some upcoming team fights. And in a sense, somewhat of a counter of sorts to an Axe. I don't know, it was you. Somebody had brought that up recently where it's like Axe jumps in and pop the global silence, and it prevents all the other counter or the follow-up initiation from happening. So tool to have. Bottom lane, silencer as I'm talking about him. Look at this Earth Spirit trying to go for the solo kill, although Axe is running in, and that will secure it as, yeah, he gets a spin-off, actually. Does the job, so. Silencer just simply trying to soak up a little bit of experience, find some solo farm. They're not letting him have it easy, though.
Yeah, Duop don't want to give this up for free, though. They want to take this fight down bottom, but I don't know if they realize that all of Onyx is here, so. This may turn sour pretty quickly. There's only 3 heroes here. 747 a little bit away, and player's still dead, so. You get the 1 kill on the Earth Spirit, maybe trying to chase down more.
Yeah, they're going to go for more. Might as well at this point. Grossoff Hayes actually put up, so Moonlight Shadow's not going to matter too much, as well as that amp damage. Yara here on the Lifestealer trying to chase. Nice back backers. The wall goes down. He does have a leap coming up in 1 second. Going to use it at the last second right there. The open wins, though, keeping him somewhat nearby, but Fleazy just fast enough. Surge popped onto the Slaughter. He does not have enough mana for Crush, though. In comes the Berserker's Call. Restores in the background, finally showing up. And Mirana's picked up. The Iron Shell ticking down Axe a little bit. Not going to be enough damage, though, at least just yet. Although maybe it will be. Yeah, Lifestealer does catch up to him and eventually picks him off as he attempts to TP away. So Storm Spirit actually coming there at a pretty clutch time. Hoping to secure that.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of stuff the Duop need. They need to, whenever Onyx tries to go for a pickoff, they try and get aggressive, that they take advantage of every opportunity they have and try and fight with this Darkseer Ion Shell, getting the Lifestealer active every time they possibly can. It looks like they may go for another smoke here, or at least group Shrine up, as Storm Spirit actually going for a little bit of an unorthodox build. Goes to the Arcane Boots, and then now into the Orchid. So realizing, hey, I don't really have the time to sit and just farm back up Bloodstone, play this game super slow. I scale really well when I get items, but I want to have a little bit more kill potential. If I'm getting caught in a position, I'm getting called, and that extra HP probably isn't going to save me this game. So going for a little bit more kill potential, and going to give them a much easier time bringing in this Terror Blade. Good versus basically all of Onyx's heroes, and gives them solo kill potential versus almost everyone, so gonna give him a lot of pressure, just putting him up just by virtue of him having that item. Gonna increase his farming speed with the mana regen, having the Arcane Boots. So overall, I think I like this choice this game. It's a little bit less greedy, and it gives them more fighting potential early on, so they don't get totally eclipsed by Onyx getting some pickoffs and then taking all the map control with this Terror Blade.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess it's maybe because we don't see a lot of the heroes that would normally pick up the item, but I frankly am almost a little surprised we don't see Orchid a little bit more. I mean, you got heroes like Storm Spirit, a natural kind of hero for it potentially, but even like Quap, where we see her a fair amount, could definitely be a candidate for something like that Orchid, you'd figure. But yeah, we don't see it a whole lot, but yeah, it's fun to see it here on Storm Spirit and how going to take advantage of the aggressive nature of it, as you're talking about there. Look at Earth Spirit top lane, meanwhile. He's just doing his own thing, pushing it up, and no one's stopping him, actually. They are going to be counter-pushing in the middle lane, however, and that's probably why. Oh, bottom lane, though. Storm Spirit. Ooh, they're going to go for a jump. They have an arrow ready. Axe, he's charging in. There's a recall on Earth Spirit. There's the jump, and yeah, they are going to catch him. Global Silence coming out. Will that be enough to save? No, the auto attack's still too much. Get the kill right there.
Just a little bit too late. Arrow barely missing, but Bubba coming in with the call. Didn't realize he was there, so I thought he was going to live when that arrow missed. But they do waste the global there, not saving the Storm Spirit. And with the Storm down, they're definitely going to get this 2-2 bottom. Mason rotating in, or actually getting pulled in by Demon with the recall. So has that Metamorphosis. May not even need to use it. Yeah, looks like he won't. So saving that to be a future fight. At the very least, Duop still holding on to this tier 1 tower. So giving them some semblance of map control, but Onyx definitely feeling pretty good with how the map is working for them at the moment. So he does have the Yasha, as well as the Dragonlance now in this Terror Blade. Still behind the Lifestealer, but slowly closing the gap, and once he gets up to that Manta, up to that Scotty, this Lifestealer is not going to be happy with how the game feels for him, even though he is up to the Echo Saber and enough gold for one of the Mithril Hammers, closing out the Tesso.
Yeah, arguably more importantly, though, is again that Blink Dagger onto Slaughter, and he is almost there, and at this rate, getting the top farm, it doesn't look like he's being stopped right now, so he should be able to get it. You see they're drawing a lineup here. They want to prevent him from continuing to free farm, so he is going to have to start falling back. Will be just short for the time being. Could even sell that Stout Shield. Yeah, he just, or no, he actually didn't do that. But anyways, He will have enough for the Blink Dagger now. Or maybe he did sell it. Anyways, yes. He will have the Blink Dagger. That's the good news. As Lifestealer will now have that vehicle to be able to pop into and transport him around. But, oh, actually, yeah, Storm Spirit is also a good candidate, isn't he? I was completely overlooking that. Kind of just figured Slaughter Lifestealer combination, but Storm Spirit. If you're Lifestealer here, I mean, who do you rather jump in, the Storm Spirit or the Slaughter? Is it just base by base example or what?
Typically Storm Spirit is more of a late game makes carrier early on. You don't want to be the first one jumping into the fight like that, just YOLOing in. That's not really how Storm wants to play these fights. He wants the Slaughter to go in first, and then him going for more of a calculated jump on one of the squishy heroes or someone he can blow up with the Orchid. Whereas the Lifestealer wants to pair up with the Slaughter with the amplified damage this early on, so we can just 2-3 shot people. Whereas later in the game, you have enough damage with the Storm Spirit and yourself. So the Slaughter, basically the Storm Spirit and Lifestealer bomb is more of a late game combo, not so much an early game thing.
All right, we'll see what he does decide to hop into in the near future. Oh, he is in Slaughter. There we go. There's that Blink Dagger. And taking your advice right there, at least for the earlier game, the Desolator almost finished, 3,000 gold saved up. So, yeah, just about there. They're going to try to catch somebody at the bottom, but Dubu's running away with the Invis, just coming out at the last second. But he's a little bit too far, so Onyx clearly having some good insight there of what's going on, and they'll fall back. Mirana did obviously get the Ags. Very effective pickup early on. Is going to be building into a Yasha and then a Manta.
Oh, my goodness.
Did that just whiff or an illusion there, yeah.
Yeah, I think he had A-clicked the illusion down the hill, so whacked him right before he could blink. They would have definitely blown up the Terrorblade there, so just narrowly dodging, losing their carry there. And Onyx very, very happy with that. In the meantime, Duop needs to go back and push out all of these lanes as we do get a pause.
All right, gonna see what this pause is about. By the way, guys, I did drop a little bit of frames there for a couple of seconds. I am looking at it. I realize those people were mentioning that, but it seems like it should be back to smooth now. So, apologize for the stream hiccup right there.
Kale.
That Kale that we had, yeah. But should be good now, at least on my end. It looks like it is. Anyways, yeah, in the pause here. So right now, you look at the net worth graph. It's kind of been up and down a little bit for Onyx, though, really in their favor. And although right now it's pretty even, nothing to be too excited about for either team as far as pulling ahead. But that Orchid being finished on Storm Spirit, you'd figure is going to be kind of a key item going back to it as far as making some plays now. So I feel like if you are going to get an item such as the Orchid, then yeah, you want to make use of it in terms of getting the kills. Almost like that, getting a Blink Dagger on some Initiator hero. You want to make use of it ASAP. So see if they find that opportunity here. Coming up.
Yep, well, we're going to be working towards that BKB, so going to make him basically impervious in these fights. Only real way he goes down is if he gets jumped by the Slaughter Lifestealers. Once he has that BKB popped, it's almost impossible for this Lifestealer to chase him down and actually get hits on him because can't open wounds him. Echo Saber's slow doesn't work, so we'll go down extremely quickly if he gets jumped, but if he's not getting jumped, then basically can't die. So, as in all these games with the Slaughter Lifestealer lineups that are very based on, getting the jump, taking the fight based off of 4v5, it's very important. And who gets the jump, who does not. Snake King, getting his mana burn down, doesn't have the Guardian Greaves yet to purge off that mana leak, so it's actually completely out of mana now. Gonna have to go to the Shrine.
Yeah, that's a good job with the Blinding Light, of course, to push him away and be more effective. Meanwhile, the Global Silence to use Slaughter, though, he gets countered on, and he's going to be taken out. Lifestealer pops on out. He's going to TP out with the Rage immediately. Can his teammates escape, though? That Surge, no man on Darkseid, though, as mentioned. He does have the 17 wand charges, but even if he uses it there, he more than likely is dead anyway. So great couple of kills in favor of Onyx, and a nice transition into the middle tower kill as well. And they may even go over to the Roshan pit here, as Duop was looking to do that right prior to this. I mean, that's what started this whole fight, really. Not going to, though, actually. They instead are going to just keep the push going here and insisting one on the tower here instead.
Yeah, the mana leak just doing absolute wonders in this game and the game before, just constantly being a massive nuisance as you are going to go down here, trying to deal with this wave, but gets jumped by Bulba, goes down, just blink of an eye to the Terrorblade, and they're going to lose this tier 2 as well as the Lifestealer. And this is where this Terrorblade starts to get really scary, as the Manta has the Dragon Lance, and now 1800 gold, so Celsius Poor Man's Shield will have the next ultimate are working towards that Scotty, and that is really not the situation you want to be in as the Lifestealer.
Nice tower kill. 10-5 lead now for Onyx, but now you see that net worth chart really kind of dipping in their favor. Over 4,000 net worth lead. Another 2,000 gold saved up on Terrorblade. Important there. And you got Axe getting the Blade Mail on top of the BKB in the works. Yeah, the Yags on Coddle. Wow, he is actually just about finished with that. Only 700 gold away now. Just needs that Blade of Alacrity. So, you know how important of an item that is on such a hero. In fact, he's going to recall Terrorblade to the top lane, it looks like, and he'll just farm up here now. So, it's a nice just movement coming out for the team right here, allowing Terrorblade to farm all across the map very effectively. Slaughter, as Lifestealer jump inside, they're going right for the bottom lane, and Coddle's going to be their target. Orchid comes out, that's an easy kill. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the potential right here. Oh, Terrorblade was here, so what am I saying? They actually recalled him right here at the last second. TP's coming in, but there's the vacuum wall combination. Mason is simply trying to run this whole time. His Sunder is on cooldown currently. Looks like he did use that right there. Darkseer, meanwhile, gets caught with the magnetized out. The science from Silencer going to be used as now the open wounds activated onto Dubu and actually Yara here in Lifestealer. Not only helping him to survive, but gets the kill in the end. Dubu, however, ends up with a double kill, as actually Slaughter did fall to the magnetized, but that almost got really awkward for Team Onyx with the recall.
Yeah, just barely got the Sunder off at the last second. Almost losing the Terrorblade, but still staying alive, so not slowing down the progression of the Scotty really that much at all. And they don't even lose his tier 1 tower, so I think Onyx, although they do lose a couple of heroes, not too sad about how that went down. I think Duop okay with it as well, as they do get the couple of kills and are able to push out these lanes now with Storm Spirit closing in on this Bloodstone, so almost as the Soul Ring and then just the recipe away. Vastly increase how strong he is, but they want to keep taking these fights, look for pickoffs wherever they can, whenever this global's up, and if they do ever catch this Terrorblade out of position, he just dies extremely quickly. The Storm Spirit jumping in, you know, with a Lifestealer inside, or even just the Slaughter Lifestealer can maybe bring him down in the duration of a crush.
I know you're kind of talking about it earlier, but just to kind of look back at it, the fact that he is still going the Bloodstone right here, and I guess, you know, in the hindsight now, maybe this could be the deal, but isn't there kind of the argument that the Bloodstone, you want to get that item as soon as possible so you can start adding up those charges, you know, with the other kills and stuff? Or is it, does this ultimately still just make the most sense to you that you went the Orchid first into the Bloodstone now?
I think kind of the issue with going for that Bloodstone first this game would be that they can't really get kills without the Orchid. You know, they can look for an occasional pickoff here or there with the Slaughter Lifestealer, but the Storm doesn't want to be in those places. He wants to be alone, pushing out the lanes by himself while the rest of his team goes for pickoffs, and then he comes in later. And so having the Bloodstone isn't really conducive to being able to pressure these heroes if they try and push out these lanes against him or push them out afterwards. Where if he has the Orchid, when he's pushing out these lanes solo, he's actually able to pressure the heroes alone, you know, force them to not be able to farm those lanes, threaten solo pickoffs. So maybe he farms a little bit slower and, you know, could be at 13, 14 charges, but those 2 charges compared to the pressure that could be put on by the Orchid, I don't think is worth it to go the Bloodstone first this game.
Fair enough there. The Eye of Scotty is just about finished on Terrorblade. Meanwhile, he gets jumped on the wall. Combo comes out and down goes Terrorblade. He had a Sunder, couldn't get it off in time. And the global silence, that's what I'm talking about. They try to kind of follow up somewhat and maybe save the day, but Earth Spirit just ends up dying as a result. And that's 2 very key kills right there for Duop. That transitions very nicely into the Roshan pit. So look at Demon. He's going to harass them a little bit, make them take a little bit longer with the blinding light. As long as he doesn't die, this is okay, but oh, he's going to be found now, so he applies the mana leak. And he's going to go for the TP right here. Oh,
my goodness.
Just in time. Storm Spirit flying in. Couldn't get there, but that Duop, that's an Aegis for Storm Spirit, I'm guessing. Yeah, he's like one of the best heroes to have it on, so.
Yeah, probably the best hero in the game to carry an Aegis. Now with the Bloodstone as well, he is very, very strong, and I think even with this Terrorblade being in the spot he is, the Storm Spirit, one of the better heroes versus him. As the game goes later and later, has a ton of magic damage, is extremely hard for the Terrorblade to actually hit. And also a hero that naturally builds Shivas, which is one of the best items in the game versus the Terrorblade. As it just sort of owns all of his illusions. You zip in with the Shivas and all of his illusions just evaporate no matter how tanky they are. Has the stun, has the Orchid. Overall just a good hero versus the Terrorblade, but Onyx, knowing that global is down, they're going to smoke up and they're going to look for a fight. Even without the TB Scotty, which is just a bit away, They do have the Ags now on team, which is the bigger item, and still a minute and 30 left in daytime, so this is a good opportunity for Onyx.
Bulba, he finds the opening, catches Silencer. Maybe not the prime target without the global silence, but it's good nonetheless. Earthspin in the background gets counted on by Lifestealer and Storm Spirit. He drops immediately, so 1-for-1 exchange, an eye for an eye, but make it 2 eyes going down for Onyx right there. As Kato will be picked up with a vacuum pull back in, so advantage right now for Doo-Wop, and they want more. They're going to get more. Axe gets pulled on in by Storm Spirit, still zip-zapping around, and that's more charges for that Bloodstone as Lifestealer will tear right through him as well. So double kill for the Lifestealer, but no doubt 747 on Storm Spirit doing a lot of the work right there, and that just continues that momentum uphill big time. Look at that chart, really reflective of how this game no doubt is going right now. In favor of Doo-Wop all of a sudden. And with that Aegis, they might as well push some towers in for the time being. So, yeah, choosing to try to fight right there. Proving maybe not to be the best decision, but really kind of a hindsight deal.
Yeah, whenever you jump on a silencer like that, no global, so killing him off really early on, you waste your blink initiation, you show that you're smoked, and then someone was actually fortunately in an Invis rune there, so he was able to walk around, sort of see who do I want to jump here. The Earth Spirit showed himself, and they were able to blow him up before he got any spells off, so sort of trading heroes for a 4-4-4 there, but the Earth Spirit much more useful in these fights like that, and if Onyx aren't taking these really nice long fights or aren't able to call a core hero, then the Storm Spirit with this Aegis is just sort of the king, and is able to zip around, and isn't even contestable as he does have this Aegis, so if they bring him down once, he's just going to respawn and continue to wreak havoc.
Yeah, so he's still got that for a little bit longer, and seems like Doo-Wop is trying to decide exactly what they want to do. Obviously this is an illusion down here, I mean, pretty noticeable by now, so just going to kill it really quickly and start pushing out the bottom tower, it seems like. There is a secondary tower there, as well as the top lane. You do see the lines being drawn by Bulba. Going down middle into the top lane, so looks like queuing up for a split push here. As Doo-Wop is pushing that bottom, reclaiming about 2 minutes, so keep an eye about 30-minute mark is when Doo-Wop will need to think about that Aegis wearing off if it hasn't been taken off by that time. But BKB in the works for Storm Spirit, by the way, which no doubt will prove to be an effective pickup right here. Storm Spirit, I mean, we kind of saw the last fight. Maybe that's the answer, but they went for Earth Spirit right away. Was that because maybe that's just like who they happen to see first, or is that really the priority target, you think?
That was just who they happened to see. Jumping the Axe before he's able to jump in and use his call is a great choice. Probably the best is jumping the Axe. Honestly, just jumping anyone at the beginning of the fights is good. It just sort of depends on how they're positioned around in the fights, but the Coddle, Terrorblade, Axe, all good options. It just sort of how it depends on how they're placed in the fight. If Terrorblade's way up in front, they can maybe look for the Coddle. Look for those heroes that are a little bit stranded and don't have the teammates near them to defend them whenever they get jumped by the Storm or the Nake's Bomb or whatever.
Yeah, Flea here in the middle lane, just sitting back, and again, he also kind of went an interesting build, I feel like, where he went that Axe, which is obviously pretty routine and expected almost, but then he kind of transitioned into a Manta, and now he's still going. Now he's going back to like a Blink Dagger, and I guess I'm just kind of. Does this make the most sense? That it feels like it's kind of a mix of wanting some right-click presence, but also this utility, taking advantage of the Starstorm and jumping in Initiator almost. Like, does this build make sense to you?
I mean, the Aghanim's is just basically core on this hero. You can't really play this hero without going Ags. It's just too good, too much damage, too much charm potential. The Manta is somewhat of a defensive item, as he kind of needs something this game. Between the Storm Spirit, Orchid, and the Global, and the Amplify damage, there's a lot of things that Manta can purge this game. On the flip side, Manta is sort of just a funky item upon him, as she's a hero that really lacks damage as the game goes longer and longer. So whether it be an E-Blade or into actual right-click items, Manta's not typically the anecdote you want, but it is a nice defensive item at the very least that gives him some answers for what Doo-Wop has, and the silences, the amplified damage, and what have you.
Obviously has that Moonlight Shadows for the team to take advantage of too if need be. I've seen it a couple times this game, and speaking of that, I'm kind of just looking at the inventory real quickly for vision detection. You got Silencer with a couple of Sentry Wards. Outside of that, though, I don't see, unless, they do have Dust on Slaughter, actually. So, yeah, they are ready to deal with Mirana, the Moonlight Shadows, that is. Comes out in a team fight, which inevitably is, you figure. Double damage bottled up on Storm Spirit with the 15 charges on this Bloodstone. Obviously, the Aegis being reclaimed, but there goes the top tower. And let's go to the Shrine, they say. I think that's a good call. Always is. Post the patch here. It's get all the outer towers destroyed. make your way to the shrine ASAP, in my opinion. So, gonna do that, and you see Onyx circling the area. They're aware that that's probably. Oh, wait, they have vision here, don't they? Yeah, they definitely know this is happening. But they're not going to really fight to defend it. They are split pushing the bottom lane. Axe kind of farming out. What does he want to get on Axe right here? The BKB. Okay, yeah, he just about has that finish now. In fact, there we go. Just got his BKB.
Onyx at this point just trying to look for any opportunity they can find, split the lanes, and wait for some hero to be sort of caught all by themselves and look for a play. Getting the BKB now on the Axe increases Onyx's strength quite a bit, makes it to where this Axe can't just get silenced up and become useless. And it's daytime now as well, so maybe a time that Onyx wants to go look for a fight. Now they do have that Night Stalker-esque vision from the Coddle. And Duop sort of doing the same as they're going to group up. Let's see, do they have any smokes? They have a smoke on the Sawdust, maybe looking to smoke up and group, having the BKB on the Storm now. So if he's not getting called, then he just can't die in these fights. With the BKB, that's really the only thing they have to deal with him. So it's going to come a lot down to the jump right here. As you can see, Snaking moving down to this bottom lane, going to push it in with an Ion Shell, and then probably run back over his team to TP. Yep, there he goes. They've already smoked up. So they're going to be able to push in that mid lane as well. Very, very smart from them, not smoking all 5 heroes, just smoking the 4 while Snaking goes and pushes in the lanes. As he can come in later with the vacuum wall. As long as he gets on the Terrorblade, he's done his job.
They find a jump initially. A big 3-man crush coming out from Brewer right there. The global silence to follow. They got the 1 kill on a Coddle right off the bat. The Metamorphosis, though, from Terrorblade in the background. He's putting in some good auto attacks, and Slaughter is getting low. Snaking also low himself, and actually will fall on the Darkseer. So Onyx, they are responding pretty well. Their cores are still up, and they want to chase this. Now, 747, he's got a regen. He has Orchid still. He's still feeling good. Lifestealer, he's going to be called back in. But there we go with Storm Spirit flying in the background. BKB pop by Mason, though. And all of a sudden, Storm Spirit not as useful. And they pop the Shrine, though. Can Silencer get over here? No, he cannot. And they're going to try to fight around it. It is going to wear off, though. Illusion's being greeted by Terrorblade. They're going back in. Terrorblade has a Sunder. Can he get it off in time? He pops the Manta Style. He will use a Sunder right there, and down it goes. It looks like it's not so. That's from before. Storm Spirit is picked off. And Yara here on Lifestealer, he is going to fall in the end. They're going to transition to a Shrine kill, and Onyx wins that fight. So a fight that started with a 3-man crush from Duop. You figure that's what exactly they were looking for, and it still didn't work out.
Yeah, the Darkseer didn't get any of his spells off. Didn't get the vacuum or the wall off. I think he got jumped by either the Axe or the Earth Spirit had stunned him, something like that, because he just wasn't able to get any of his spells off. Got chased down and pummeled by the Terrorblade, who had the BKB for that fight, had just picked it up. Absolutely massively changed the fight, as they just weren't able to bring him down in sort of that second spurt of the fight. They tried to go back in, maybe not realizing he had just picked it up. And changing a lot as he's now getting healed up by Demon. He's going to continue to push in this bottom lane. And the Duop, really not happy with how that fight went. They still can take these fights, I think, as long as they get a decent vacuum wall off. Preferably on this Terrorblade. They sort of botched the initiation just a little bit. They got a great 3-man crush, but then zipping in, I think Flea had just barely got his Manta off, so wasn't able to get pulled. Misclicked a little bit, and then Flea was able to leap away. The Earth Spirit popped his Ghost Scepter in time, so not pulling immediately after the crush. So buying a little bit of time for a couple of these heroes. Bulba not going down early on, so able to get that second round of calls and making a pretty big difference. Now they see Roshan is up, and both teams know this is an extremely important objective in games like this.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, it's only the second one, actually. I thought for a second there that might have been the third one, but only the Aegis on it, but still very, very important in a close game like this, as mentioned. 35 minutes in. Terrorblade just going to keep sending the illusions out for scouting, if anything, but also it does have a Hurricane Pike now, by the way. Axe jumps in, catches Darkseer. Will they kill him again before he does anything in the background? Storm Spirit flies in, catches his brethren in Earth Spirit. The global silence used. Darkseer goes down. He buys back immediately. Earth Spirit staying alive, and look at the Metamorphosis Mason. He does have the Sunder still as well. He picks off Lifestealer, and Sonar dead. There's the vacuum wall combo, but it's just too damn late. A triple kill for Mason, and 747 flying away in the background. He's going to be purged by the creep. Oh no, he ends up denying himself actually with the Bloodstone, but not a good fight once again for Duop. The great jump from Bulba. They picked off Darkseer, and you got to figure that probably is the important reason right there. Sure, he finally got it off, but by the time he did, the damage was already done by Onyx.
Yeah, he bought back for that as well, so a dieback on the Darkseer. Doesn't have a buyback for this fight. Only the Storm having it, so most likely the Rack's going down. As there's still a few more seconds on this Metamorphosis. It's going to be going down in a second. It looks like they will be taking this Rax here.
Radiant's middle
Pretty
tower
unfortunate for
is
Duop. The
falling.
Darkseer not able to get his wall off. 2 of these fights did get off, like you said, but it was the
Radiant's
tail end of
middle
that fight,
barracks are
so
under attack.
not really having the biggest impact. And now Dooku pinging the Roshan, so knowing, hey, after we take these towers, we can immediately run to the Roshan, secure that, and then the game becomes almost unlosable once we have that 747 zipping through and killing the creep wave with the classic zip TP trick, but not mattering too much. Is now Onyx going to go clean up that shrine and probably move to the Rosh pit afterwards.
Yeah, so they do save the bottom racks at least, but it's such a huge advantage now for Onyx as you're getting out with the whole buyback situation and that dip in the graph, man. That really is an example of how things have changed dramatically. 7,500 lead almost in favor of Onyx now, and the experience basically the same story. But yeah, this Terrorblade, he's going to have a butterfly now on top of his items here. Going to get rid of the Ring of Aquila, I'm sure, and that'll turn into a butterfly, and you talk about a stacked hero, especially somebody like that Terrorblade, creating all those illusions constantly. Good luck dealing with all of that. We do hear, looks like they are going for Roshan here's due up. They get a stun on the Storm Spirit with the Boulder Smash, but no follow-up really. Darkseer, he's charging in. He does have his combo. Blink Dagger going to be deactivated, though. This is a pretty desperate move by Duop, but you know what? When they're down with like they are, you got to take a chance. There's a wall combo in the background over here. Slaughter the Crush to follow. Catches 3, but that doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. 747 jumps in. Lifestealer still going for Roshan this whole time. Global Silence activated. The Metamorphosis activated once again from Mason in the background. Can they at least kill Roshan? They do. He picks up the Aegis, but at what cost right here? He's going toe-to-toe with Terrorblade. He's trying to outlast him with the Lifesteal. The Abyssal Blade comes out, but again, he still even has a Sunder. So yeah, gets the Aegis killed, and Mason still has a Sunder to use. Darkseer goes down, and this Lifestealer, he is completely surrounded. They jump back in with 747, but no, there's the Sunder, and GG, well played. It's official. Game 2 and the series going in favor of Onyx for 2-0 here, as they do remain alive. Congratulations, Duop. Unfortunately, I think that means their chances are going to be coming up short here for these qualifiers, but valiant effort. So, Onyx came back though, man.
Yeah, it was looking a little grim there for a bit. Getting a couple items up on top of the Storm Spirit, making a pretty huge difference, but in the end, they just kept getting jumped by this axe. The Darkseer not getting the wall up in a couple crucial fights, and like we talked about earlier on, this Terrorblade just gets so farmed so quickly as the game goes later and later, and the Lifesteal really just doesn't do anything to him. Once he has a couple items up, gets the Scotty up, and then suddenly Lifestealer not really hitting as hard as you want him to be, getting several Ghost Scepters on the Earth Spirit and the Pada having the Manta, just kiting them around, not letting them get these initial jumps, winning the fight in a burst. And both games going Onyx's way, so some little back and forth games with very distinct timings, but Onyx playing the split push keep away game for most of both games and working out quite well for them. This Coddle pick doing work.
Yeah, it remains undefeated. This is kind of a hint to teams out there. In fact, NP, they're going to be playing Team Onyx next in our final series of the night. They're 5-0 with Coddle. I think you could justify perhaps initially banning such hero with a record like that, and again, Demon clearly very comfortable with it and plays it very well, so we'll see how that plays out in that series. But as far as this one, obviously wrapping up, again, 2-0 victory for Team Onyx right here. Speaking of the next series, it's going to line up pretty well right here. We've got about a 15-minute break before the default time kicks in for NP versus Team Onyx with our final series of the night. So that should be a good one there, best of 2. CCNC, I believe you're going to be leaving us, though, for now. So I want to thank you for joining me as a co-caster here. Anything, any shout-outs, anything you want to say here before I let you go?
No, not really.
Not tonight, once again. One of these times you'll have a shout-out, I swear.
I shouted out to Eric Dong the other night.
That's right, okay. You did have one, okay. You can check him out on CCNC Dota 2, both on Twitch and Twitter. Got your back there. All right, guys, stay tuned. 15-minute break. We'll be coming back. Our final series, Team NP versus Team Onyx here. Best of 2. Should be a great finish here. You don't want to miss it.